Good morning, everyone. Ashley here with Tolton Art. As it says in the title, today we're going to talk about some of the best books that I've come across for self-education. I myself am a self-taught artist, so I have relied very heavily on other mentors, DVDs, books, all of the things. So today's book specific, and let's just hop into it. We'll start off with some of the books that I got a long time ago. This was when I first started my art journey. There was a few that have definitely helped bridge a lot of gaps along the way. So the first one is this Atlas of Anatomy book for artists. This one is about animals specifically. So if you are an animal artist, it's really awesome, especially if there's an animal that you're not really super familiar or comfortable with. I'll flip through a little bit. There's a lot of anatomical studies in there, and in that regards, it also makes for a really good sketchbook. So if you just need something to sketch, to practice, you have a really big painting coming up that is of a certain animal, this book is really phenomenal. The other one that I got pretty early on was this one, Color and Light by James Gurney. This one is incredible. It is so phenomenal at teaching you light, different ways to use light, different ways to perceive light. When I was first starting, I literally knew nothing. I was self-taught. And though that doesn't mean you have to be oblivious, I was an oblivious self-taught artist where I had no idea about even the idea of reflected light or all of the things, like so many things. There's so many aspects to light, and he just does a really good job talking about like different sources of light, different directions, and it's honestly just phenomenal. And light is basically what we paint, you know? It is the difference between the darks and the lights that really make an impactful painting. So color and light are super important, and that's why I got this one. Another one that I got was Keys to Drawing with Imagination. This one was really fun. I do really like this one. It gives you a lot of exercises that kind of free your mind up so that if you're not used to drawing, you don't know what to draw, you're interested in starting a drawing habit, it's a really good book to just give you some ideas, and if you work through it from start to finish, it definitely can kind of teach you to loosen up, and it can definitely aid in like the hand-eye connection. I will say I don't reference this book all that often because it ended up being a little bit doodle heavy. It was more practical and applicable early on in my career when I really felt like I was lacking my own thoughts and ideas. And this did a really good job of just helping me kind of break some of those barriers to think for myself, to make mistakes on paper. It just freed me up a lot. Though it's always good to revisit those things, and maybe down the line I will kind of go through this book again. I'm at a different stage in my career right now that doesn't really require that as much, and you'll see why. You'll see my more recent books that I just got, but this one is really great, especially if you need a little help with the imagination aspect of it. The last two books that I used pretty heavily early on in my career was the Complete Color Harmony Pantone Edition. It is a phenomenal book. I actually still reference this quite a bit. It goes through every color, what it can mean, which is awesome, but it also gives you some really great color schemes. So if you're wondering for your own brand, or if you're looking for a painting, kind of what color scheme would evoke a certain emotion, or you're just looking to play and give you an idea, this book is great. It goes so deep into color. It's really inviting and easy to read. There's lots of beautiful photos, and it's been a really fun book to have on hand. In fact, it kind of makes me want to look through it again right now. But that's how you get distracted and end up wasting the whole day. And then the last one was just like the animal, I got the Atlas of Anatomy for Artists. This is the human edition. So similar to the animal one where they go through kind of all the anatomy, this goes through all the anatomy of the human. It's a great sketchbook kind of inspiration. If you just need something to draw, it gives you really interesting images to work from. It is a bit more technical and textbook-like, so it might not have a place in your own book collection, but it's good to know, and it does give you kind of poses and different age groups. It gives you a lot of reference points, and then you can understand the anatomy on a deep level, which, if you really want to elevate your drawings, can help you a lot. So it's a great book to just have in case you need it. Okay, so now we are entering into the most recent books that I just got to help me. This is 2 years down the line. I have put a lot of time and effort and grown a lot. So I feel like I'm at a very, very different point in my career. To me, it kind of just required a bit of a spruce on the books because I'm looking to fine-tune different things. Okay, to start off, most of you know I'm mostly an equestrian artist, but I've also dabbled in Western artwork, landscape. I try to be a very well-rounded artist so that no matter what someone brings my way, I feel capable, and I just feel like you can never learn too much. So even if I'm doing mostly animals and portraiture and that sort of thing, it never hurts to be very good at drawing or painting a stream or a tree, because you never know if someone's gonna want that in a painting. And so for me to be able to know and feel like I can do the best job really means a lot. So this brings me to my first book, The Elements of Landscape Oil Painting by Suzanne Brooker. Just a side note, all of these books are in my Amazon shop. I have a supply list and I link it there if I liked the product so that you guys can also use what I use. But I got this book because it goes through a lot of the technicalities of painting landscapes. So it does break down clouds, terrains. She gives you different brush techniques to get different things, how to do grass, how to layer it in, kind of colors. Oh, that's cool. I don't live far from there. That's fun. It goes through all of the techniques of kind of what you're gonna run into when painting a landscape, which is really important to me because it's not all of landscapes are a strong suit. So this way I have a book to not only practice from, but if someone comes to me with a commission that has something I'm not comfortable with, I can go through this, go through the exercises and the drills and kind of practice what it says and improve so that I can do the best job I can with that painting. The second one is the stage that I'm at in my career and business is I've niched down quite a bit, and with that I want to make sure I'm doing the best job possible, which to me comes down to technique. I always, in everything I do, I rely heavily on education and technique. And who are some of the best artists when it comes to technicalities out there? Ateliers. They have done the decades of work that it takes in order to be an absolute master at drawing and painting. So I did get Classical Painting Atelier by Juliette I don't know how to say her last name. Anyways, this one, it goes through a little bit of color theory. It goes through a little bit of the techniques and why they do certain things, certain traditions that have been passed down. It's highly informative in regards to what is an atelier, what do they do, how do they do it. It's a little more theory-based, I would say, which leads me into the next one by the same author. And this one is Lessons in Classical Painting. So while that one is a little bit more, it is very atelier driven, This one has actual breakdowns of lessons. So she will take you through and still explain everything to an incredible level. That's very easy to understand. But she also this one's more of a step-by-step. What do you do? How do you do the atelier thing? And she's like breaking down shadows and highlights and edges. I would say this one's more on how to paint. The other one is how to do it the atelier way. And between the two of those, I'm planning on using them together to create my own coursework so that I'm learning about this atelier technique while going through the lessons and being able to apply all of those things with the techniques in mind. And if you know anything about ateliers, they usually spend the first 2 years at least just drawing. Sometimes you can do less, but for the most part, it takes about a year or two, if not more, of just drawing. They don't even touch paint yet. That's how dedicated they are. Because of that, and because I want to improve on my sketchbook habits and drawing capabilities, I got the drawing equivalent of the last one I was just explaining. So the last one was lessons in classical painting. This one's lessons in classical drawing. It's very similar in the sense where she goes through kind of lesson by lesson and technique wise, like kind of breaks it down in a coursework that you can give yourself of like, this is how you should think about drawing, how you should draw. So that one I will also be going through kind of step by step as the year goes on. So finally, the last book that I got by the same author, because she is literally amazing, and it is a figure drawing atelier, an instructional sketchbook. This one is really cool. I've been diving into this one in the mornings. It basically has pages in here for you next to her examples so that you can just do it as you're reading through the book and learning these things. You can, like, she encourages you to draw on her examples, and then you'll have kind of a blank side where you do it yourself. And it just is really phenomenal, especially for me and the way that my brain works, where I can sometimes have a really hard time just sitting down and being like, oh, I'll just draw whatever comes to mind. Like, it feels like too much. It's really intimidating to me, and I will have a really hard time picking what it is I want to draw, but I want to draw and I want to get better. I just sometimes am just like, I just want someone to tell me what to do. And that's where this comes in. I don't have to think about anything. I just read it and then I get to do it. And it's been really rewarding. Already the first few exercises that I did this morning were incredibly helpful, and I'm really excited to kind of take that into my next drawings. In between all of these, I have no idea how long it's going to take me to get through all of these books, but I'm very excited. This is a lifelong journey, so there is no time limit. I would rather go slow and careful and really make sure I'm internalizing all of these steps and techniques. But overall, those are the books that I got most recently. I'm so excited to go through them, apply them, learn from them. I can already tell through the flip through, they are exactly what I wanted. So these are more so based on technique and improving those like really, really specific skills in order to create accurate, highly masterful pieces of art, which is what I want. Art comes in every shape and form. I'm not saying that you have to be realistic, it has to be technical, but if you are like me, where that is very appealing to you, and you may not have the access to an atelier, then these books are probably going to be really awesome and helpful for you. Some of the reasons I picked a book over, say, the internet, I was looking at Watts Atelier for a very long time. I think they are a very good option. The issue was, long-term, it was going to end up being quite a bit of money. For the drawing one alone, it was about $100 a month. Whereas on all of these art books I bought, it was 100 total, and they will probably last me just as long. So for what I would do in 1 month of these videos, I am, you know, I got potentially a lifelong curriculum just in these books. The other issue is that where I live, I am out in the middle of nowhere. And I do not say that lightly. I am out in the middle of nowhere, which means we live in an old house. We live in a place that doesn't really have cell service. So relying on internet isn't always practical, on top of the fact that next year I'm going to be traveling a lot. And with that, I don't want to worry about bringing my laptop everywhere. I don't want to worry about having to connect or charge or all of these things. If I bring a book, it just, yeah, it may take up space, but I can do it at any point without electricity. And I can hunch over or sit in a chair or whatever. I don't need to be reliant on technology, and I can still be practicing what I need to. For those reasons, that's why I ended up getting a book. I hope you found this helpful. As I said, if you're interested in any of these books, though I may not link each one specifically below, I do have a link to my Amazon supply shop. So if you go down below, click the Amazon link, it will take you to my shop where I have all of these linked there. You might just have to scroll a little bit depending on where it is, but all of my supplies are there. So it's nice and easy, and you can just add it to your cart right then and there. If you're interested in watching any more of my videos, there's going to be one popping up on the screen shortly if it has not already. I do hope you found this video helpful. And as always, thank you so much for joining, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.